Hi, my name is Nav. I'm here on behalf of the National Apprenticeship Service. I'm here to talk to you guys about apprenticeships, the different range of apprenticeships are available, the different levels that are also available, and obviously what you need to do is start searching for apprenticeships. I know there are going to be quite a few Year 12s. This is tailored towards parents, but I also know that Year 12s will be listening as well. So there's a lot of information for you guys that you can absorb alongside it. And we'll go straight in. So what is an apprenticeship? Now, with an apprenticeship, it is a full-time job. You will be earning a wage, and it can be really good as well, depending on the organisation that you go ahead with. But again, we'll talk about money in a little moment. It will take in the region of 30 hours. It could be a little bit more, also can be a little bit less. And how that's broken down is that you'll be working 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you'll be doing studying and working to study for that qualification. And again, that will vary from organisation to organisation. So it's really important that you do apply yourself and you work hard to gain that qualification. The employer is working and investing time, energy into you guys to get the experience that is needed for this vacancy. So again, you will be getting assistance through a training provider, and basically they will assist you throughout your journey when it comes to your that 20% of the time when you're doing your studying, to ensure that you do get the qualification when you do finish your apprenticeship. Now, I do want to mention is the fact that with apprenticeships, they're not going to be handed to you by myself, by your teachers. It is something that Year 12s have to apply themselves and really be proactive in searching for. I'm not going to lie, it's quite difficult to sometimes get an apprenticeship, but again, if you're proactive and you're searching for the vacancy, it's very worthwhile. Now, some apprenticeships can take in the region of 1 to 6 years. Again, it depends on what sort of levels that you're going at, and I will come on touch base on that a little bit in a moment. But again, that would depend on the duration of the apprenticeship, will depend on your qualification as well. So it's really important that to make a note that apprenticeships are not necessarily the easy option. It is holding down a full-time job and studying a certain skill, and again, they won't be for everyone. But again, this is where I do say research is really, really important when you're looking for apprenticeships. Now, there are a lot of myths when it comes to apprenticeships. Again, you will be earning a salary, but again, definitely do your research. Have a look at what is available, what sort of apprenticeships are about. It can be really important that. You'll get a better understanding once you start searching. They can be in the region of £10,000 to £20,000, but again, it's only when you research will you get a better understanding, a better idea, depending on what kind of field it is that you're interested in going towards. One of the good things about apprenticeships is the fact that 90% of apprentices do actually stay on with the employer. They've built that relationship with the employer, they know how they work, and they understand the organisation. So again, it's a really good thing to remember is that 90% do actually stay with the employer. Again, with social life, what I like to say with regards to this, if apprentices or young adults do join large organisations, there's going to be a whole host of different departments that they can interact with. Again, a whole host of different people, similar age group to them, or even a little bit older. But again, there's a lot of opportunities to meet people. Again, you can obtain a degree from this. Again, depending on what sort of level that you do go in for, there are options with universities to gain that degree. Another good thing is that there is no fees to pay. You have the option to study and work, and no fees are to be paid or whatsoever. This is one of the good things about apprenticeships, is the fact that it's paid for by the government and the employer. And again, have the option to relocate. There's hundreds of apprenticeships that are available throughout the whole of England. So you have the option to go to Newcastle, Southampton, London, or Liverpool. They're literally everywhere. But again, be mindful of the fact that are you able to travel? Is your child able to travel further afield? Do you have the resources? Some organisations do help with a relocation package, and what that basically means is helping the student the apprentice set up with regards to accommodation and the initial startups for when they do move. So again, it's something that I do advise to definitely do your research for those particular apprenticeships. Now, as I mentioned, there are 4 different levels And again, we'll be focusing on 4, 5, 6, and 7. As you guys year 12s, and obviously your child is a year 12 student, they're currently studying a level 3, which is equivalent to A levels. Once they do finish studying, they'll be looking at 4, 5, and 6, and 7, which is equivalent to higher and degree apprenticeships. Now, again, what I would like to mention is the fact that with regards to these sorts of levels, 4 to 7, they take in the region of 4 to 6 years to complete. Again, it will depend on the apprenticeship that you're going ahead with, but the general consensus is 4 to 6 years. And the good thing about that is the fact that you gain that competitive advantage with getting that experience. That's why they're a little bit longer to a standard university degree. Now, with regards to architecture, and if you want to become a solicitor, they do take in the region of 6 years. But again, when you start researching, you get a better understanding of the course and the duration for it. But that's just a broad overview of the different levels. Now, again, the way that each apprenticeship is delivered will vary. Now, with that 20% of the time, okay, you get paid for off-the-job learning. So you're going to be doing studying, getting the qualification or the assessments and coursework. Students still get paid for that duration, and that will vary from employer to employer. It can be a case of going to a local college to that studying, and again, that is something that's set up with the employer. So it's not something that the student or your child has to think about. It's already pre-arranged, but they'll get time to study if it's a college, maybe pay the college a visit every week, or it could be every 2 weeks for a set amount of time. Again, it will vary from each apprenticeship to apprenticeship. It also can be classroom learning, and what I mean by that is some large organisations, for example, JCB, actually have a huge on the headquarters, they actually have a huge classroom where somebody pays them a visit and does the necessary teaching, and that's where the students learn. Equally, it can be workplace, it can be an individual that pays the workplace a visit and does the necessary studying. But equally, it could be online. Most likely or not, currently, online seems to be working quite well, and it could be something that is carried forward. But again, it will just vary. So again, once you start looking into apprenticeships, would you get a better feel for it, a better understanding of how they do deliver the 20% of the paid learning. So high degree apprenticeships, now they are real alternative to the traditional route of going to university. I am aware that you have had a webinar regards to UCAS on how to start applying through degrees through UCAS, but this is another alternative. One of the good things about high degree apprenticeships is that you can actually still apply for high degree apprenticeship through UCAS. So it doesn't take away from the 5 universities that the student or your child is looking to apply for. So you can apply for 5 and then apply for 3 high degree apprenticeships or 4, and it doesn't take away from the initial ones that you do. So that's one really good tip that I would advise you and your child to look into. Now, the benefits of a high degree apprenticeship is that you're learning and earning from day one. You get that contract, that employment contract, and you sign, and you're with that organisation for 4 to 6 years. Your tuition fees will be paid for by the employment and government, so that's really beneficial. So there's no £9,000 for you guys to pay. Again, what else could you guys do with that money? There's more than 100 universities that do offer high degree apprenticeships, but again, I want to focus on the fact that you need to research and really look into the range and the variety of different degree apprenticeships. Another good thing I want to mention is the fact that students are entitled to the exact same benefits that any other student as if they were attending university. So what I mean by that is they can be part of the student union, they can be part of the clubs and the societies and get that beautiful NUS discount, that 10% discount for any eateries or any clothes they want to buy, any books as well. Now, in the past, it was always deemed good going to university. However, with the current level of competition, it might not necessarily be in the best route for your child or the student. You gain that competitive advantage. So for those, as I mentioned, it takes in the region of 4 years. So you gain that competitive advantage of getting 3 years worth of experience in there. So yes, it might take a bit longer, but that experience that you gain is invaluable. So what I like to say is no matter what sort of career or pathway that your child decides to go down, definitely do your research, and then from there they can decide, is this pathway for myself? And one good tip that I like to give students and you can give to your child is whatever vacancy or job they're looking to go in at, make a list. So have one for if they left college and went straight into the world of work, what would they get? Equally, have a look at degrees, what sort of degrees are available and what do they get for that when they do finish their degree? And equally, higher degree in apprenticeships, have a box for that and weigh up the pros and cons. What can your child get once they finish that higher degree apprenticeship? So once you line them all up, you can start comparing, contrasting what sort of pathway will be most beneficial and what would be best for your child. But again, do that comparison, have a look at the 3 avenues, and then from there make the decision. But again, only by researching would you get a better understanding by that. Now, equally, the range of apprenticeships are huge. Usually, when people think of apprenticeships, they think of plumber, electrician. But as you can see here, there's a whole host and a whole range of apprenticeships that are available. So from accounting, aviation, going to legal services, become a journalist, architect, dental nurse, become a surveyor. Again, it's just the range is huge and vast. This just gives you a little bit of a taster of the variety of different apprenticeships. The next slide is the range of degree apprenticeships that are available. So if your child is interested in becoming an aerospace engineer, becoming a teacher, solicitor, a paramedic. I also have some more snippets here. So if they're interested in becoming a marine engineer, become a power engineer, a software developer, accountant, again, I've mentioned that, or even a watchmaker. Again, the range is huge. There's over 200 different high degree apprenticeships that are available, covering a huge range of job roles, but only when you start going into a specific field. So looking into engineering, manufacturing, there's actually in the range of 50 different vacancies within that role. But again, definitely do research, have a look into it, and you can filter out which sort of apprenticeship will be better for your child and what sort of field they're interested in. But this is just to give you a little bit of a snippet of the variety. You'd be quite surprised at the amount of degree apprenticeships that are available. Again, equally, look inside a company. For example, if you know that your child wants to go into accounts and finance, it's not necessarily that they have to go to an accountancy firm. It could be they look at large organisations. Any large organisation will have a finance department. So the BBC would have a finance department. ASOS or Amazon would have those sorts of departments as well. So definitely do research and have a look into that. One thing I will mention, although there is a generalised site, we'll come on to a little bit in a moment, sorry, there's a government website where you can search for apprenticeships. Sometimes they're not advertised on there. Sometimes you might have to go directly to the organisation. So if your child knows which organisation they're interested in, have a look at their careers pages and sift through the information that's available. And as I mentioned, there is a whole host of employers that do employ apprentices. So this is just a small snippet again. So you've got Rolls-Royce, British Gas, Starbucks, BBC, Google. This is just a small percentage, a small number of employers that offer apprenticeships. Equally, have a look locally as well for high streets and local and small medium-sized businesses do offer apprenticeships. But again, you definitely have to research, and I'll keep focusing on that and be proactive and get in touch with those organisations. So sometimes the small and medium-sized businesses actually have excellent schemes, a fast-track scheme to be able to progress forward within the organisation. But again, this just gives you a little bit of a snippet. Now, as I mentioned, where to start looking for apprenticeship, there is a government website called gov.uk/find an apprenticeship. And what I do advise is the first steps to do is register on Find an Apprenticeship website. Definitely have a look through the job vacancies and do your research. And then from there, students can start applying. But equally, if there's a vacancy or job that your child is really interested in but doesn't seem to manage anything, find anything at the moment, so if it's accounts and finance within a certain area and they can't seem to find anything, definitely set up an alert system on there. So as and when any vacancies do pop up, you get an email notification and then you can start applying there afterwards. But that's the basic steps of how I would start in looking for apprenticeships. So definitely register on the gov.uk website, have a look at what kind of apprenticeships are available, but equally do get in touch with organisations directly. As I mentioned, go on their websites and look at their careers pages and get in touch with someone from the HR, build that relationship up with them, and request information of, okay, I don't see any vacancies on your sites, I've been on your careers page, sorry, you've gone on their careers page and you don't necessarily see anything. Get in touch with them. Okay, when are you next hiring? When are you going to be hiring more apprentices, or what is the cut-off point, and what is the date that you what month is it the most likely that you are looking to start posting vacancies? Again, these are small little snips and tips that I would advise you look into. Now, as I mentioned, the Amazing Apprenticeship website does have a whole host of resources. This is another way of finding apprenticeships. Again, it's just linked with the government website, and then you can start searching for apprenticeships. So it's www.amazingapprenticeship.com, and then from there it will help you select a different region. If it's a region that your child wants to look into, you can click on that region. But again, it's twinned with the government website, so either method works, either going directly to the government website or going to the Amazing Apprenticeship website. It just gives you two options. Now, as I mentioned, this is what will generally come up when you are searching. You put the information in of the field or area that you're interested in, so it can be manufacturing. Try and keep it short and sweet. It's a government website. It can't seem to take too much information. Just be quite brief with it. So if it's engineering or manufacturing, keep it to one word, and you can select the location that you want to go searching. Equally, the distance that your child is willing to travel, and then from the apprenticeship level, you'll be looking at levels 4 and above. Okay, but equally you can leave it blank and just see what pops up, just for you guys to get an idea, and then you start searching for apprenticeships. And then on this page as well, you can set up an alert system. So again, like I mentioned, if you can't seem to find that apprenticeship that your child is interested in, set up the alert system. Emails will pop up, and then you can start applying there afterwards. And this is just a basic of how the summary outline of what an apprenticeship would pop up. This is very basic. It will give you information as to the sort of skills that they're looking for, the personal qualities, are they willing to learn, are they a team player? So one of the good things is if your child right now in year 12 has found an apprenticeship and they've started researching, and they see that they match roughly 50% of the desired skills and qualities. If it is 50%, I always say to students, try and get it to 80%. So if for example, you are good at communication, but you don't necessarily have IT skills, but you have willing to learn, and you're not necessarily, and you are a team player, but you don't have that attention to detail, start working on those weaknesses per se, and try and make them into strengths. So they have a whole year to start working on those, and then start applying for apprenticeships there afterwards. Again, it just gives you a bit of an indicator. If there are areas that you need to work on, you can do so within this year, and then start applying there afterwards. But equally, if you match 80% of their requirements, their desired skills and personalities, definitely apply. Okay, you never know what might come of it, and you get that experience and that the process. You start learning within the process, and then start applying for apprenticeships. But this will just give you a broad overview of what companies are looking for, what kind of skill sets and attributes they require for when you do come on to applying for apprenticeships. Equally, it'll give you the information in regards to the employer and their contact details, and also the training provider that they are acquainted with as well. So again, how can you tell if this is a good apprenticeship? This is a question that I do get from parents a lot, and again, it'll be vary from each person to employer, but generally what I would say is, get back up again, sorry. What I would say is, what they've been paid. Okay, we're not saying the highest paid employers are the best, or the lowest are the worst. A fair wage is encouraged within all areas. Again, as long as it's the national minimum wage for apprenticeships, which is currently £4.20. But again, with higher and degree apprenticeships, they are going to be a little bit more, but that's the basic minimum wage that is inputted. That will give you a really good indicator of if it's a good apprenticeship. Equally, what are the likely progression opportunities? Have that conversation with the employer. I'm afraid it's not coming up on my slide. I'm not too sure why, so I'll just go through them briefly. Openly discuss that with the employer when having that conversation. What kind of opportunities can my child get? What kind of different departments can they work alongside? Do they have the option to move around? Equally, that's questions that I would advise you to ask the employer. Also, is the vacancy, once the apprenticeship is over, is it fixed after the apprenticeship is over? What is your pathways that you have afterwards? Can my child become permanent there afterwards? Again, become permanent into a more become permanent and work within the organisation is another question I would advise. Equally, look at the training provider. Just like any school, you can check the Ofsted report, you can check the training provider, definitely look at their websites, because every organisation loves to shout about their success stories. But again, have a look at the company website as well. Have a look at what kind of opportunities they provide as well. Again, they'll love to shout out about their opportunities that they're given apprenticeships. But again, these are a few snippet hints and tips that I would advise to start looking into. Where else to look for apprenticeships? Now, again, as I mentioned, go directly to the company website. They're not all going to be listed on the gov.uk website. Go directly to the source. Sign up to any newsletters that you possibly can do. They'll give you information in regards to when they're looking to recruit. Have a look at their social media platforms. So their Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. A lot of companies are posting vacancies on their social media platforms to try and get younger adults involved. Equally, what I like to say is speak to your friends, speak to your family members. You'll be quite surprised at how many people can assist and help and point in the right direction. So equally, to Year 12, speak to your friends' parents. Again, what kind of organisations do you work with? Do you have an apprenticeship pathway? Do you have the option? Now, equally, if your child doesn't have the foggiest of clue what kind of area they're looking to go into, what kind of field they're really interested in, a good website, amazingapprenticeship.com, and then if you click on there, a little a toolbar at the top will come up with a vacancy snapshot. I would click onto that. So amazingapprenticeship.com, there's a section called vacancy snapshot. Click onto that and it will give you a whole host of large organisations that offer apprenticeships, and you can click on them further. So you can go onto Google, IBM, have a look at Boots, and it will give you snippets of what apprenticeships they're offering, what they offer, and the apprenticeship pathway as well as giving you hints and tips. And then from there, looking at the different roles and variety of jobs that are available, you can start sifting through and get better understanding what kind of area that your child is interested in. Again, theamazingapprenticeship.com has a whole host of resources available. They'll have monthly newsletters and parents packs that you can download free of charge. And you can start looking through the information. Sign up to their newsletters every month. Again, give you so much information as to webinars that are popping up. So I know the RAF did a webinar recently. Accountancy firms that like to join up and give information, but they'll have a whole host of resources available just so you get better acquainted with the language that's being used and the different companies, organisations that are looking to hire in set month. But it's a really good starting point for you parents to look into. Again, amazing apprenticeship website. I can't say there's so much good I can say about this organisation, this company, that gives you so many more hints and tips to progress your child, and for you guys to have so much information in regards to the apprenticeship pathway. It also gives you lots of resources in regards to interview tips, hints and tips, lots of different employers that are offering apprenticeships. Generally, just a lot of information in one place. So if you're looking to start, the amazingapprenticeship.com website is where I would advise you to go. Equally, there's lots of people that are willing to help. Equally, the National Apprenticeship Service. If you want further information, you can get in touch with them on their website, or you can give them a call if you want further information in regards to anything that I've said today. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to assist and help throughout the journey. As this is a recorded session, if you did want some more information, my name is Nav and you have my email address located there. By all means, do get in touch if there's something I can help with, and I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction. But thank you so much for listening today. Thank you, Miss, for setting this up. Hope you have a good day.